So today's video is addressing some of these studies and information that I come across sometimes in the world of weight loss, things that are telling you about how important it is to get the right macronutrient combination and how certain macronutrients are more important and stuff. And they use these numbers and stats to kind of convince you of it, but I actually think it means the opposite. So here's an example. You come across this stuff where it's like, okay, so we took a bunch of people, this study, and we put some people on a ridiculously high protein diet, some on a really high fat diet, and a really high carbohydrate diet. And the numbers are loosely made up, but they're the generalization of what I've come across. So it's like 90%, 80%, 70% protein, right? They lost like 2 extra pounds. They 90% fat, they lost like 1.5 pounds. It's usually not quite as much as the protein. And then usually inevitably whatever macronutrient they're saying is bad or terrible or whatever, it's like they ate mostly that and they actually even gained weight and so on and so forth. The thing is though, while this seems convincing, to me, it's the opposite. To me, it's actually saying it doesn't really matter that much, because what ends up happening is they say, okay, so you've got these numbers, these changes, which really in the large scheme of things aren't really all that big. 2 pounds, 1.5, maybe gained a pound or so forth. And we've got to take into account a couple of things. One is, how long did this take? Okay, so usually this is like 6 weeks, a couple months, sometimes 3 or 4 months, right? And then of course we have to take into account how big of a change are we talking about here. Sometimes when they're talking about a dietary thing, there's like 90% protein, which is like, dear God, what in the world are they eating that's 90% protein for their diet? Like chicken breasts and protein shakes and stuff? Because when you look at just normal average whole foods and stuff, it's very hard to get very macronutrient centric focused foods. You have a steak, you're gonna have a lot of protein, but you're also gonna have a lot of fat. You know, if you have a sandwich, you got a mix of stuff. So the long and the short is, when I come across these studies that are saying these big things happen and they did this, if it takes a huge investment or a huge change in your lifestyle, or if it takes a large big thing that you have to do, something that's really difficult, out of the norm, and you have to do it for weeks on end to get a relatively small result, to me that says it doesn't matter that much. For me, if someone says, okay, we're going to make a big change in your life, you're going to do it a long period of time, and it's going to make a small difference over the run, to me that says that's not that effective. At the Red Delta Project, my whole idea is I want the smallest changes I need to make over the shortest period of time to make the biggest difference. That's the stuff that I know is much more effective. When people come to me and they're like, large protein diet, have it at it for 2.5 months and you'll lose an extra 3 pounds, to me that says, it's not worth it. It's not very effective. I'm not even gonna bother with it. I could lose an extra 3 pounds a hell of a lot easier than overhauling my entire diet. Thoughts down below. Till then, be fit, live free.